Hello everyone. I figured in light of Toy Story 4 coming out, I figured it'd be cool to, I guess, go back to the previous Toy Story movie, the third film, and kind of give that a rewatch since I figured it was some time since I've seen it, and I figured, I guess, like you'd say, a refresher, I guess, would be an interesting idea since I figured the third one out of the three previous ones that came out, I figured ties it more to this particular movie. So, anyway, uh, for those that I guess may or may not have already seen the third movie, uh, it takes place with Andy now being a teenager and preparing to go off to college. And of course, it's been some many years since he's played with his toys, and of course, many of the toys I guess that were like in previous movies, including Bo Peep, were kind of traded off to different owners or kind of disappeared. And I guess, Andy and Buzz, Woody and Buzz and all, Mr. and Mrs. Potato Head and Rex and Ham and Slinky Dog and all the other toys kind of realized, I guess, like, as predicted in the second, Toy Story film with Ross, Sticky Pete's character, that, Woody couldn't stop Andy from growing up, and that's the case here. So, when Andy accidentally, has his toys, donated to the Sunnyside daycare center, even though his intention was to take Woody to college with him and, have the other toys in the attic. But, of course, along the way, Woody, them encounter a bear named Lotso Bear, who's, the antagonist of this bear. And he of course, the film kind of goes into Lotso's backstories and kind of why he rules like the Sunnyside daycare with, I guess you would say tyranny of sorts, if that's the way to look upon it. And of course, what makes the third Toy Story film rather symbolic is how would you say, like the passing of the torch from like Andy's story to Bonnie's story, for people that may or may not already know, it shifts to her. So it was like, how would you say, like an emotional, I guess, journey at the time, when it came out, since it was like you get to kind of see like the Andy kid, grow up and kind of like, it kind of like relates to many people, kind of like the things and hobbies and stuff that you kind of liked as a kid and grew up with. It's like, when you become older, your tastes change, hobbies change. And I guess that's like pretty much the same thing with, Andy and his toys, even though they kind of meant like a lot to him and, things like that. But that's like the inevitably thing of growing up, learning to start new, I guess, adventures, learning to let go of old ones and things like that. So it still remains a pretty good film, even almost 10 years since it came out. So it's, definitely worth giving another look at, which I'm glad that I did, and it still holds up pretty well. So that's that. So okay, everyone, thanks again.